Breaking down the huge UFC 325 card in Sydney, February 1st. And it's me versus... Hey, Diaz?
Be good if the Aussie MMA Instagram page and give us a bit of glow up because we're killing it.
Don't forget to check out Australian MMA magazine. That guy is doing the right things too, so
Jeez!
let's go.
Bloody UFC... Bloody... The card's here. That's right. That's how excited I was. I couldn't even get it out. UFC 325 in Sydney. Full fight card dropped. Very interesting by the UFC. Normally they like sprinkle it. I reckon we ruined it. I reckon the media ruined it because too many people kept like leaking fights and thanks a lot guys like Benny P and the Brazilian media outlets. I think it was pretty cool. A lot of the UFC was just like, here's the entire card. I think people are still sort of speculating a few fights to come, but that's it. From what I'm hearing, baby, that's it. Which means, look, we'll go into it. We're going to go into the card. We're going to break it down. Some thoughts, some things, some reasons why you probably should care about the fights. But some few omissions. Colby Thickness, New South Wales boy, sad he won't be on the card. I think he's still dealing with an injury. I'm not sure. Cody Haddon, speaking of injuries, I would imagine he's still dealing with that as well. We are then missing out on old Tommy Nolan. He's not going to be on. That's sad. He seems to be like a mainstay on a lot of these Australian cards. No Jack Jenkins. His situation, he did just get married not so long ago. Maybe he's on a honeymoon. Maybe he's super fat now. I don't know. To lose a couple of those guys is sad, of course. Still no Casey O'Neill. That would have been cool to see her on the card. Don't know her situation. Once again, not a journalist, just a guy with an audience. Probably could have found this out. But instead, I thought I'd just come here and just dump all my thoughts onto you guys. And maybe you guys can go do the work and then let everyone know in the comments. There's a few fighters that I really wanted to see. I was excited to see. Rob Whittaker would have been really, really cool to see fight in Sydney, his hometown. He said a long time ago that he was not going to do that. I think he had either a new baby or he's busy whooping Asia in reality TV shows. And then if you're a fan of like the regional scene or you watch the Contender Series, no Marwan Rahiki, even though we saw the clip of him being like, hey, Sydney's in my backyard. And Dana White was all like, oh, we'll get you on. And it seems like even with the power of Ali Alabalaziz, Ali, Khabib's manager, it seems like Marwan Rahiki not on, which is sad. I was excited to see that. And, Georgie Mangos not on. But... he's not even signed yet. I think he has a broken hand still, and that's not going to be cleared. And even then, he's not signed to the UFC yet, as much as everyone wants him to be. Then we've also got the 4 Road to UFC fights finals, which is a huge moment, huge time for Australian MMA, and I can't wait to break it down, get it incredibly wrong, give you my opinions, and then have you all abuse me. Look, let's go from the top of the card down. Let's work it through. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but like I said, UFC dropped the full card during the UFC 324 main card. So that was cool that they dropped the entire fight card. And we're kicking it off with probably the one fight that is very bizarre, but it seems like people are upset about it. Alex Volkanovski, defending his newly acquired featherweight title against Diego Lopez, a guy he has already beat, and then kind of had a fight and had a highlight victory, and then now he's back fighting Volk again. It wasn't a super competitive fight, I don't believe, against Volk, but look, he gets to go again. There were some other options. Lerone Murphy, I think there was Movslar, there was a few guys sort of floating around, but I don't know why, but I reckon the UFC, especially after like the fight night in Perth and everyone was all like, oh, star power, and they were like complaining a little bit about that. Sydney in the past has not been as like star-studded. I think they just went like, hey, what's the biggest fight we can make that isn't like illegal to make, and it will be fun and there will be bloodshed and everyone will be like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then Sydney will see it. Because you got to remember, the Sydney government, just like the Perth government, pays for these events. So they don't really care. They just want to see a banger fight, attendance go all out, the people happy, and then they renegotiate all that sort of stuff, and then they bring more events back. Like I said, I don't know what's left on their deal or whatnot, but it's like a fact that it's common knowledge that the government helps pay to bring the UFC here. That's why you see all the cards in Sydney and Perth and not other areas. So I think they just kind of want a fun, exciting fight that'll probably get highlights and get passed around and shared around. And yeah, the hardcore fans might be all like, oh, what about Lerone Murphy, or what about Mobslar, or all that sort of stuff. I think the casual fan do not give a shit. They just saw the first fight with Diego Lopez and Volkanovski, and they're like, hey, let's just do that again, because that'll be a banger and people will be stoked. So look, whether excited or not about it, I really, really want to see it. I'm really, really excited. There was news that like it might be Volkanovski like retirement fight, but I think he even came out and said like, bro, I ain't said nothing. And yeah, so who knows what he might do, but I think that's a pretty cool like way to sell tickets as well, to be like, wow, you never know, might be Volk's last time. But what a way to go out. That'd be pretty sick. Defend your title in your hometown, sort of put on a great display, and then just bounce and ride off into the sunset. Do I think he will? No. I think he's got at least 2 more left in him. I think he'll leave on a super fight that he'll probably like lose, like in the pro wrestling style, when like you go out on your back type thing. But I think it'll be him like trying to chase greatness again, and then he'll go out on his shield like that way. And I think that's like the Volk way, weirdly like tying it in with like John Cena, if you watch pro wrestling, you know what I mean? Like just beloved by everybody, and sort of going for that last bit of greatness and then just falling short and riding off into the sunset. So no, to answer your question, I do not think this will be Volk's last fight, but I do think he beats Diego Lopez, and I think he beats him worse than before. I think the scorecard, I had it written down, 49-46, 49-46, 48-47, I believe. Don't quote me. But I think it will be a finish this time by Mr. Volkanovski. And keep in mind, I have to see Diego Lopez. So that is that's a very scary statement to make. Co-main event, bloody absolute banger. Oh, dang the Hangman, Dan the Hangman Hooker. Dang, hand hooker. Dan the Hangman Hooker. It's so cool to see Dan Hooker fight. Death, Taxes, and Dan Hooker having an exciting fight. There are 3 like guarantees in life. He is taking on Benoit Saint Denis. Benoit Saint Denis. You know who it is. Look, that'll be an absolute cracker of a fight. Very, very excited to see Dan. He's just like at the peak of his popularity right now. And he just kind of wants fun fights. I think he even said in a previous interview that he probably won't get a shot at the title, age and all that sort of stuff. And he just kind of wants to ruin everyone's hopes and dreams that want to get there. And Saint Denis, on the other hand, he's red hot right now. I think he's fresh off of a, under 20-second KO of Beneil Dariush. So look, it's going to be absolute like fireworks. And I think it's got fight of the night written all over it, unless the next fight has anything to say about it. The next fight, Rafael Fiziev taking on Mauricio Ruffy, who will weirdly, I feel like, become an adopted Aussie. Because if you've followed socials at all, it seems that Ruffy has been like adopted by the Engage boys, or Ash Belcastro and those guys who, by the way, are doing great stuff. I think Engage is now at like Universal Store or something, so it's like becoming mainstream. But yeah, Volk, obviously Izzy, Volk's part of Engage as well. So even though he's not from here, I feel like Ruffy will be like the Aussie, because he'll be like rolling with the crew. I don't know, speaking out of my ass, but it feels that way. And Aussies kind of, if you're not from Australia, we have this like, if we have any connection to you and you're good, we will like find a way to bring you in and make you ours. And he is taking on Fiziev, who is always super fun, super exciting, does like cool spinning shit, and it's just like a striker's wet dream. It honestly is. Like I said, it's in any other card, Dan Hooker versus Saint Denis is like the fight of the night, absolute lock. This one, however, I think might just pip it and might be able to be fight of the night. Next fight, welcome back. I mean, could there be a bigger opportunity for one of the biggest stars in the sport? Not too often do you have a guy that is on a 5-fight losing streak be probably one of the most popular guys on the card. He's still on the main card. He's getting a fight in his hometown, and he is still getting treated like a superstar. Tai Tuivasa, the old man, if you don't know, does the shoey. Absolute just Sydney through and through. Eshe, just, yeah, Western Sydney, like I said, like he honestly just through and through lives and breathes Sydney. So it's really, really cool to see him get on the card. And it looks like he's back in shape because there were photos sort of circulating. By the way, the one you see of him super ripped, that is AI. Tai Tuivasa, I think, even says it's AI. Yeah, but he was like at one point like 400 pounds. No, that's not true. But he was like massive, and it looked like he was like never going to fight again. And then he's just kind of got whipped back into shape, and he's coming up against Tallison Texiera, who had crazy knockout on the Contender Series, was on a bit of a run. I think recently just got finished by Derek Lewis, but still, shootout style. Someone's getting knocked out. If the other two were sort of favourites for fight of the night, this is a favourite for performance of the night from one or the other. Perfect moment, obviously, is Tai Tuivasa getting the KO, jumping on the cage, doing a shoey, which we haven't seen for about 3 years. So, look, the Sydney crowd wants it. There's a perfect opportunity to have like the biggest viral moment. I wouldn't be surprised if the UFC wants it. It'd just be bloody great for the sport. But yeah, standing in front of him is a very, very, very tough prospect in Tallison, and he can put Ty's lights out. I think if Ty loses, I think as cool as he is, as much as the UFC loves him, he could be like 0-20 and people still watch him fight. He's just a hell of a personality and a hell of a knockout artist. But I think he would get cut, so this is him fighting for his life. But he's also young. I think he's like 30. He's only 30 or something. So if he wins, I do think that he can still go on a bit of a run. I know it sounds ridiculous of a guy coming off 5 straight losses, but it's the heavyweight division, man. You're like 2 fights away from the title at any one time. So that's, look, another banger fight. Think about that, what I've already talked about. Volk, Ruffy, Hooker, and now Tai, all on the main card. That's the 4 fights so far on the main card, and the fights are still good going down, so it's going to be sick. Rounding out the main card, we got Jimmy the Brute Crute taking on Dustin Jacoby. Dustin coming off, I think, a 2-fight win streak. Absolute slick stand-up fight. I think it's 2 finishes as well. Jimmy Crute, finally, through all the bullshit, he kind of got launched onto the scene out of the Contender Series, and he was like a really, really hot prospect. Then won an absolute slouch, both professionally and a little bit personally as well, as he's mentioned before. He then sort of found himself, had to climb his way back, took a long time off. I think he even at one point put his gloves down in the cage, singling retiring, before the great Sam Greco was like, you ain't doing that. I know what's in you, and Sam Greco is like royalty in Australian combat sports. And they dug deep, kind of training out of Australian elite team alongside Jake Matthews and all those boys, and Jono Micallef and whatnot. He's done some work with Rob Whittaker recently as well, and they just dug deep, and Jimmy did some real soul searching in every aspect of that phrase. And He's climbed his way back, and to the point now where I don't even think we talk about it anymore. Like, we don't go, oh, how's it feel to like not be on a losing streak anymore, or you haven't won in X amount of time. Now he's like 2-fight win streak, looking to be 3 against a really, really tough guy. Jimmy's probably the better overall fighter. He kind of do a little bit of everything, but Jacoby's like super slick standing up, so there's a lot of danger there. But you watch Jimmy on the ground, his jiu-jitsu is like underrated. He moves like a lightweight. And he walks around at like 100 kilos. Dude's massive. But he's super quick, moves like a cat. So yeah, bloody loving it. That's an absolute banger way to kick off the fight card. But yeah, have some beers, go to the rodeo, hit some karaoke, sing some Crete, Jimmy Crute, kicking off the pay-per-view. It's going to be sick. And now, the most exciting bit for me, at least. Now, I know the international or casual viewers are like, cool, main card, thanks, Mitch, thanks for running me through that. You got this wrong. And I'll go, okay, cool. But the next bit is the most excited I am for the card. I love the prelims on an Aussie card because a lot of the time it's the guys that were on the regional scene about a year ago. So it's cool to kind of see what they're doing. And there's even some opportunities with the Road to UFC fights. We'll talk about those soon. But it's just awesome to see these guys that we sort of support on Eternal and Hex and Beatdown and all that sort of stuff. And they get their opportunities. And as we've mentioned before, Eternal MMA's record is like unmatched in terms of the regional scene and what they can do on the next level. So it's really, really cool. It's really great for the sport. And that's the whole point of Australian MMA doing this shit, is I like seeing the regional side of it get elevated. Once they're onto the UFC, it's like watching my kids go to college. I'm like, you're on your own now. Now you have MMA Junkie and Aero Hawani to carry your dreams, where I will nurture you if you want to come back home and visit, which is when the UFC comes to Australia. This is what we're doing now. Now, the featured prelim, Quillan Salkild, who is red hot. He is the minority killer, and now he's going to have to do a complete 180 and be the majority killer. As he takes on the Chinese Rongzhu, who has recently won a Road to UFC tournament, I believe, which is kind of nice full circle moment as he sees some guys trying to win their way onto the UFC. But yeah, he's an absolute starter. I think he's like 26-5 or something. He's had so many fights. Really, really highly regarded. But Quillan Salkild, I'll tell you what, maybe like 6 months ago, 9 months ago, Rongzhu probably would have been like the favourite. When now I think Quillan Salkild might be. I mean, if Quillan Salkild doesn't finish you in the first minute, like he has nearly killed some guys, he's in for an absolute war and can grind it out. He's probably one of the scariest prospects going around. He can do just about everything. And finally, the world is seeing what us in Australia has been seeing for the last half a decade. So super excited for Quillan to put on an absolute show. I think he's going to squeak out the victory, but I think it's going to be like a tough, sort of gritty decision, and you're going to get to see lots of Quillan, and then he'll be on the main card from here on and so forth. But yeah, it's a super sick way to finish off the prelims. Next fight, working down, Serghei Spivac versus Ante Delija. That's right, not a journalist, just a guy with an audience. Also a retarded guy at that. Now, I'll read a little bit. I wrote a bit down because I didn't want to forget these guys. Spivac is a vet with wins over Derek Lewis, Greg Hardy, and Sabura. He's a proven top 15 level heavyweight. He's got a grappling heavy style, lots of takedowns. And then we've got Delija, who is a former 2022 PFL heavyweight tournament winner. And he also has a big KO win over Tabura as well. Both of them, I think, have lost to Cortez Acosta. So they can talk about that. But look, at the end of the day, two big heavyweights, boom, 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 try and knock each other out. That's the story. Very excited for this fight. Both boys have been doing a 26-week camp for this fight, or whatever it ended up being. They were both scheduled to fight in Perth back in September 2025, and they will finally throw down February 1st, 2026. It's Jono Micallef, the secret underdog. No, it's not the secret underdog, but like he's like our best kept secret right now. Everyone's loving Quillan, don't get me wrong. Bloody absolute stud. I think Quillan's going to fight for a world title one day. But Jono Micallef is like, fuck, It's like the dude to watch. Super scary, super like heavy. He's got hands like lunch boxes that you took in the 90s. Like he's just, yeah, he's looks like he's made of stone. What I was used to say, like rocks wrapped in glad wrap. Dude is just like a specimen. He's scheduled to take on the Welsh gangster Oban Elliot. There's a little bit of back and forth when that fight fell out in September when Oban was sick. He put out a bit of a statement too about doctors not letting him fight. He told the UFC, and I think Jono's team was like not happy that the fight fell through and all that. Anyway, a lot of miscommunication there. But I think both these guys respect each other very much, and Oban Elliott's very, very talented as well. Obviously, we're Team Jono. If you're listening to this or any of me ever talking to UFC fighters, I don't think I'll ever pick an Australian, even if I think they're going to lose, because my brain just won't do it. Regional, oh God, I'll say some dumb shit and give you my opinions. But when it comes to the UFC, cheerleader, ultimate glazer, Aussie glazer. Let's do it. Jono Micallef, I think we'll finish Oban Elliott, Mr. Welsh Gangster. I know you've contacted me before, so I look forward to seeing you in public. But I think Jono Micallef will win via submission. And I think it's going to be like a real performance of the night. Performance. Excited to see this man compete as well. The former Hex Fight Series featherweight champion and tough 482 finalist Kaan Ofli, recently or training out of Absolute MMA in Melbourne under the great, or in Collingwood, sorry, under the great Simon Carson, teammates with Jack Jenkins. If you don't know, Kaan Ofli flies the Turkish and Australian flags perfectly, like you would. He's just a really well-spoken, really nice guy, hell of an athlete, tremendous grappler, not afraid to sort of strike when he needs to, and has finally gotten going. He had a bit of a tough start, obviously in Tough House he did really well, struggling to sort of put it all together against some opponents, kind of had his back against the wall, then recently picked up the submission. Was it Rodolfo Badeo? Something like that. Close enough. Let me find out. You guys will get mad, but you'll be like, oh, you didn't phonetically pronounce the R. Ricardo Ramos. There you go. That's why I phonetically said it wrong, because that's not his name. But yes, Ricardo Ramos, very, very talented as well. And Kaan came out and, he is the man that beat Josh Coolabau, and then Kaan Ofli ended up beating him. Kaan doing well now. So it's good to see him get an opponent in. And this gentleman I've never heard of. Yizha? He's a former Road to UFC Season 2 tournament winner at featherweight. And he had a UFC loss to Gabriel Santos via 37-second KO. Let me just do a little live research, guys. We're finding this out together. Yes, that's true. No, sorry. He lost by decision to Gabriel Santos. Gabriel Santos recently took on Jack Jenkins. Jack Jenkins beat him via rear naked choke, and that was a really, really great moment back in Perth. And then he is coming off a 37 knockout victory over Weston Wilson. God, guys, don't you love the internet? It's right there, available for you. But super excited to see Kaan Ofli fight in Australia, because he seemed to have been one of those guys that were like cast off internationally, where they get sort of lost, like a Jacob Malkoon. So super exciting to see, speaking of Malkoon as well, but super excited to see some of those guys come back, because as much as I love Jack Jenkins, I love Tom Nolan, love all those guys, I like seeing sort of a whole slew of Aussies getting to come back and fight in front of their fans. Next up, we've got Junior Tuffer taking on Billy Elikana, and look, those two dudes trying to knock each other out. You can't have an Aussie car without a Tuffer, I'll tell you that. And one of them, unfortunately, is gone from the UFC. So Junior flying the flag, and so it's going to be a fun fight. Like, I've never seen anyone cop more shit online than a Tougher brother, and I don't understand it. Like, I get it. You think they should, like, go to a jiu-jitsu class, but when you can knock people dead, why wouldn't you keep trying to do that? Just looking here at old Billy, son of Susie Elakana. I don't know if his mum's name is Susie, or if I'm missing a reference there. But he is, as per Tapology, the number 29th ranked light heavyweight. So, yeah, he is going, his recent victories, Kevin Christian, he beat via rear naked choke 3 minutes 33 into round number 1, and Iber Aslan decision. Yeah, so he's still won the UFC on a 2-fight win streak. You imagine they're sort of giving a tough fight, trying to build this guy. But if Junior has anything to say about it, like we say, he's got the old puncher's chance. Cam Rouston taking on Cody Brundage. Now, you got to love Cam Rouston. Slow start into the Contender Series. Like, it was kind of like he was in, he's out, and then he lost some fights against, lost a fight against Therese Finney, ironically, on the card. But he sort of bounced back, went to Eternal, did some whoopings, went on Contender Series, wins via strikes. He's a submission guy, even though he's a great kickboxer as well. There was like, you watch him on the ground, just super slick. But he's kind of reminded everyone, sorry, I should rephrase that. He's like reminded everyone why he's so good at striking. He then goes on to win in round 1 against Andre Petroski. And now he gets Cody Brundage. I think they're very, very high on Cam Rouston, and this is another opportunity for him to sort of be served up. Not that they ever, I don't mean served up like as in Brundage is horrible, because that is not true at all. And he would beat me until I died. But no, it's basically what I mean is there's always kind of, you can always sort of feel that the UFC feels like they want a certain guy to win. This feels like one of those moments. Like they're trying to set up Cam. They're going, whoa, we like you on the mic. He's pretty funny on the mic. He's a great talent. He's a great mind. He speaks well. And he performs really, really, really well. So like, why not give him an opportunity to shine? I think they even said that. Didn't Hunter Campbell come out recently and say that? Like they literally like put dudes in positions to shine. So yeah, they're not always like even match. Like they would have a preference of like, there'd be a few 50-50s, but they'd have a preference of like who they want to win. Anyway, I think they're putting Cam Rouston in a position to shine, and I think he will do just that. And then to start the card off of the UFC guys, Jacob Malkoon taking on Therese Finney. And what I like about this is there's like some good synergy here. Therese Finney is the guy that beat Cam Rouston the first time on the Contender Series. And then I think was on the Contender Series like 4 times before he got his opportunity, because he kept sort of not putting on exciting fights. He's now taking on Jacob Malkoon. Jacob Malkoon has fought Cody Brundage, who he lost via disqualification. There was a bit of controversy there, but there's like a weird sort of, they should probably do a tag team match. But Jacob Malkoon is incredibly talented, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, number 1 training partner for Rob Whittaker. Does not get the credit, both in the community, online. I don't know if he just doesn't talk much type thing, but the old Black Mamba. Actually, his nickname's just Mamba. I apologize for that one. But yes, Jacob Malkoon, Mamba, is looking to put on a Kobe-like performance in basketball. And yeah, and see what he can do. I think Jacob is looking to get sort of back on track and as active as ever. Because I think, if I am not mistaken, he fought once in 24, once in 23. And then, yeah, so 2022, he was super active, and then he kind of has fought twice since 2022. So in 4 years, when he hits the cage, we've only had 2 fights. There's injuries, cancellations, pullouts, all that sort of stuff. So super awesome opportunity for Jacob, and it's a very winnable fight, even though Therese is this sort of like smothering boogeyman. But that's not all. I don't know if this is the exact structure of the card. I don't know if these fights are going to be first and the prelims and the main card, or if this will be done as almost like a dark match, or if this will be broadcast. I don't know. I don't know if it'll be shot as a certain show and then it moves on to the UFC card. It's straight after each other. But we've got the road to UFC 4 finals, which is was a tournament essentially like in Asia, and they want to sort of do really well in the Asia market and then get their champions like Rongzhu as well. Like we said, he's in here, so they get a bit of clout. Come on over, like the Contender Series, but over there. And then, like Australians do, we go over to Asia and ruin everything, like when we go to Bali. And we've sort of just taken the tournament and made it our own. And boy, have we, because we've got an Aussie or a New Zealander. And when I say Australian MMA, I'm talking about Australia and New Zealand when they're doing well. When they're not doing well, but no, I'm kidding. But New Zealand, we like to sort of bring it all in together because they are our very close friends and family. Yes, so the finals, just so you should know, and if you've enjoyed my name pronunciations, boy, you're going to enjoy these. We've got Aaron Toe taking on Namzray Batbaya in the flyweight final. We've got Sulan Rangbo versus Lawrence Louis in the bantamweight final. We've then got Kiichiro Nakamura versus Seb Saleh in the featherweight final. And we've got Delmar Fan versus Kim Song-wook in the lightweight final. All boys, of course, every single fighter coming off a 2-fight win streak because that's how they had to get into the tournament. Guys like Seb Saleh, 10-1, eternal MMA featherweight champion. Obviously, he's been undefeated for a lot longer. Lawrence Louis came in as a bit of a dark horse and has skyrocketed all the way to the final. You've got Aaron Toe, who's sort of been like the Robin to Dan Hooker's Batman in life, and he just loves a scrap, loves a bang. He lost against Elijah Smith, I think it was, in the Contender Series, but just never has a boring fight. And probably the most controversial man that ever lived. If you have an interview with him, you are just flooded with people that love him and people that hate him. So as a man that is very similar, I welcome that. And then who was it? Don Marfan. Yeah, Don Marfan, one of the most underrated guys, I reckon, in the scene, especially on the regional level. Like, he gave the only sort of losses he ever had was Quillan Salkild. I personally think his toughest fight was against Don Marfan. And David Martinez was the eternal MMA welterweight champion. Excited to see where he goes. Would love him to have a shot at the UFC, although I don't see it happening because of style, age. UFC can be mean like that. But yeah, he was widely regarded as like the best sort of grappler in Australian MMA, and like word on the street is like Don Marfan's like him, but more violent. So yeah, guys, look, they're the fights so far. We'll break them down a little bit further as we go. Like you said, or sorry, like you're sort of aware of, I'm slightly retarded, so I can't advise you on all of them. But if you're an Australian MMA fan, man, this is a banger of a card. If you're upset about Lopez versus Volk, like, understand why. And at the end of the day, if you just like watching two dudes fight, like, would you not pay a couple $100 to be in the same gym and watch like Lopez and Volk spar? You would. It's going to be a banger fight. Might not fit your storylines, which we love, and I get why, but it's going to be a fun fight. Absolutely. Cracker of a card. Hooker, a nice fight between Fiziev and Ruffy, who will become an adopted Australian, I promise you, through all of this. And then Tai Tuivasa to have him back. Jimmy Crute, like we said, the prelims, I think it's going to be an absolute banger of a card. I'm really, really excited for it. And who knows what is yet to come. I would imagine that's the full fight card and it's done. Other than that, Sydney's going to be super fun. And I'm gonna train for it, both in media and for backstage. All right, guys, like, subscribe. See you next time.